Ready? My name is Eric, and I'm going to be refuting the claim that public education is more effective due to being held to a higher standard. My claim is that you should not accept my opponent's claims because of conflicts in reasoning and evidence. I'll respond to each of my opponent's secondary claims individually and identify inconsistencies in evidence and reasoning for each. Now, my opponent's first claim was that most private school teachers don't need to be certified. For this, I'll first address the evidence that my opponent used. And the first evidence that she used was a quotation, and I claim that it was taken out of context. The quotation was, while some private schools will hire a teacher who is not certified, they usually do so because of mitigation circumstances such as the critical need for a teacher in a particular discipline. Now, typically, the new hire is expected to earn her certification within 1 or 2 years. The same source that my opponent used also provides a report which claims that evidence that suggests that certified teachers are better is actually inconclusive. My opponent's opening statement was about her own experience from transferring from a private school to a public school. Her experience also contradicts her main claim because she admitted that although she was ahead in math, she was also behind in English. And my opponent also committed a hasty generalization by assuming that teachers that are not satisfied cannot effectively teach or can't teach better than teachers that are certified. No evidence supporting this assumption was given. Now, my opponent's secondary claim was that public schools are held to a higher standard. This claim is simply a restatement of the primary claim. The evidence used to support this claim weakened her argument. One quote from University of Illinois brought up the use of the issue of privileged populations, but did not explain how this was relevant to the secondary claim. My opponent also compared the scores of a specific high school to a public high school to a private high school, but did not provide any information on general. It was just like a specific occurrence. It didn't have a clear indication of schools as a whole, and because there was little difference, there was also little difference in scores between different schools. Now, according to a study that I found a report on the same source that my opponent used, but it was the study was done by CAPE, which is Council for American Private Education, and it states that 72.5% of students who attend a private school continue their education into a 4-year university, whereas students who attend a public school, only 42.9% of those students continue into a 4-year university. Well, because of these inconsistencies, I claim that you should not accept my opponent's claim.
All right, the main point was labeled. You've got a general philosophy about what your answer is going to be. As you get to the individual supporting points, you signpost them pretty clearly. You challenge the context on the first on the first argument. You've got an okay explanation, but it wasn't clear to me whether you were interpreting what the advocate said or if you're actually quoting from the same source that they used that had additional context on it. And so that needs to be a heck of a lot clearer. If you're saying that she's quoting out of context and here's the stuff that got left out of the statement, make sure that you cite the particular statement that is being quoted. I thought that it was kind of inconclusive on the last part. You didn't really have any evidence on that particular point. On the second point, the challenge to the usefulness of the advocate's experience, I thought that was explained okay. You have a couple of reasoning challenges that you're going on there. You've got a good explanation about the assumption or the presupposition that certification makes a difference without necessarily offering any alternative information on that point. So they're good presses on the arguments presented by the advocate, but they aren't automatically strong refutation. They're things that raise doubts only. On the third point, I didn't think you were quite as clear in the first part there of that third point as you'd been on the other points. It got a little confusing. Your declarations need to be stronger. You need to make the declarative claims a lot more effectively. I did like the competing study that you ended with, though, that talks about the ratio of students from private schools going on to four-year institutions or college in comparison to public schools. And I think that you come back to the main point, and that's ultimately what you need to do, is focus on that main point. So good job on a couple of things. I think it could have been stronger in a few more places. Thank you.